Spotify is now the best place to enjoy the Sae Bae cast, with full video episodes, auto-generated timestamps, background play for mobile listeners, and a completely ad-free experience for premium users. Spotify also pays 3 times more than YouTube, so migrating supports me greatly. Thank you all, and the links are down in the description and pinned in the comments. Go check it out. All right, welcome to the Sae Bae cast, number 240 with J1mmy. Jimmy, how are we doing this lovely morning?
I'm doing great. 240?
Yeah.
You've talked to 240 people.
Yeah.
That's
actually, so I would have said it's actually more than 240, but it's actually less than 240 or fewer than 240, I should say, because I've had a lot of repeat guests. So.
Oh, gotcha.
But I have had casts on where there's been multiple guests. So we're proud. I'd probably say about like 200 people.
That's a lot of people. I've never talked to that many people in my life.
Yeah. No, I mean, it actually is a lot of people, to be fair. But
that's crazy.
That's what
happens.
Thanks
for having me on. This is cool.
No, it was
meant to come on many years ago. I just never got the chance to.
Yeah. In fact, the whole thing kind of came up because I was listening to you. I don't know the whole history of Bankstandin. We're going to jump into that, obviously, because I am fascinated by other people's podcasts. Looking back, though, there was a huge break that you guys took, you and Nine Rain, and then you guys came back what was it, 400 plus days later. That was the title of the episode. And in the first several minutes, you're accusing, rightfully so, Nine Rain of having just trying to jump on other people's podcast because he was just getting really antsy apparently. And one of the things that was mentioned was Nine Rain was hounding me to get him on my podcast, and then eventually you were just like, I haven't been invited to any podcast, what the fuck? And so I figured I would just reach out then, and you were obviously very busy around those times, and so things just kind of that we didn't keep in touch. And then I was like, you know what, who I haven't gotten back in touch with? J1mmy. Let's just ask him again. Let's go for the round 2 invite and see if he has some spare time. So this is honestly awesome. I'm glad we could finally get this set up.
Yeah, I haven't done a podcast of any sort in a long time. I think I've been on a couple podcasts since starting content creation, that aren't my own, obviously. But I haven't been on any podcast in quite some time now, so I'm stoked.
Yeah. So let's. One of the biggest curiosities I have is just how you pulled Moist Critical on one of your Bankstandin podcasts, way in the early days. I mean, this dude is famous. I mean, everyone knows who Moist Critical is. So how did that? Were you guys already in touch somehow, or did you just ask him?
No, I just emailed him. I don't know how many subscribers he was at the time. He was a fraction of the size that he is now, obviously. Okay. He's become one of the 10 faces, the big faces of YouTube at this point. So he's just grown exponentially since I had got him on the podcast. Probably due to my podcast that he's grown so much, to be honest. It's probably a big reason why he's so famous now, which is cool. But no, I emailed him and he had just responded back with his Discord, and I was just mind blown. He is, at the end of the day, I mean, he's obviously in a very different position nowadays. Probably couldn't just email him now, but he's always just been a very down-to-earth guy, and I've looked up to him since I was in middle school. So it was an insane thing being able to get him in a call and just speak to him. I remember at the time, somewhere in that interview, I had asked him, are you good on money and stuff? Because for a while he wasn't turning ads on his channel at all and stuff. So I remember asking that. I felt really silly afterwards, but I was asking him does YouTube make you money? Are you good, dude? Are you why? How are you making money? But he had already turned ads on at that point, so he was raking it in already. But now he's showing videos of him making $84,000 off of VOD.
Yeah,
it was
every minute he's making $100,000 probably.
Yeah, it's crazy. But it was really cool talking to him and just getting him on a personal level. He's a very, very humble guy, and he loves RuneScape. So he was stoked to just talk about RuneScape a little bit.
Yeah, it's surprising. I mean, obviously, I don't actually know the history of his growth. I know obviously he's just absolutely massive now, but he seemed to have just kept his really down to earth personality. He seems very chill, and he still, talks about the same kind of things. He still loves RuneScape. He makes the occasional RuneScape video.
Yep,
And yeah,
he's a good guy.
That's really cool. Now, how many subscribers were you at that time? Do you recall at all? Because I got to say, congratulations on 400,000 subscribers. That is a massive number.
I must have been around 25 to 27,000 subs at the time because it was before I started by release. We were doing that. I remember I had started that initial Bankstandin podcast with Hellwind like way, way back, just because I was going to college and I was very out of the loop with RuneScape stuff and I wanted to get back into it. And Hellwind was like super in the know about everything and played every day all the time forever. And I wanted to use it as a chance to talk about updates, keep myself in the loop while also discussing everything. And it was fun. And then we started getting, within the first 2 episodes, we started getting other people on and it was fun. And then once by release started, I basically stopped doing that on my main channel.
And how was by release's success curve? I mean, I don't actually remember the history. You must have started by release 6 years ago? Something.
Yeah, it was March 2019.
That's wild. That was 2 months after I even got into the content creation sphere. And March 2019, I was pulling 3 viewers over on Twitch. Nothing else going for me. So that's
a long time ago. It's crazy.
So let me hear it from you. Like, how was that growth? Did you expect this to be like a new thing? Were you just like, this is gonna be really good, or were you kind of not really sure how it would land in the community?
I had no idea how it was gonna land because prior to that, I was certain in my own head that series that I was doing before by release was going to be the thing that started up YouTube success. Because I mean, I already experienced a little bit of YouTube success. I mean, I wasn't, gonna be taking the 20-something thousand subscribers for granted or anything. Like, I was super stoked, but I was always trying to just get to that next level of growing an audience and not even thinking about it as like a full-time thing, but just having a big audience of some sort. And I thought that two previous series were going to do that for me. But by release, I didn't expect anything. I just wanted to do something while I was going to film school that was going to distract me from the schoolwork and help me put things I was learning into practice. So I just, I had never done a series where I'm actually playing RuneScape before. I was always just using it as a medium for machinima skits and just kind of whatever dumb thing my head would think of with characters interacting. I would come up with a way to make that skit in the world of RuneScape. And I had never done like a real true playthrough before of any sort. I never really recorded myself playing the game for real until by release. So that was my first time with any sort of progress series that was not a skit. So I didn't know how it was going to go. And I don't think at the time anyone had really tapped into a sort of lighthearted, comical, just laid back series before, because everyone was kind of riding on the settled train at that point of trying to come up with these like insane snowflake crazy ideas, which I knew for a fact going to college where like I was like, I don't want to do that. That's not even my thing. I'm not going to go for some hardcore thing. Like, I'm going to go for what I enjoy out of the game is questing. So I had talked to Settled directly. Like I've talked about it a few times on my like Q&A stuff about by release of just how I had basically brainstormed with Settled for a while, and he helped me come up with the concept of like doing something that would be a restriction, but not a restriction in the sense of masochistic grinds that would drive me crazy doing something I don't enjoy. So we came up with by release, and it was just it just skyrocketed. It was a growth that I could have never predicted. It was everything that I had wanted to happen. It was finally happening because of by release, and it just gave me this crazy momentum and motivation. And it was the first time I had ever experienced anything like it, and the growth just never really stopped. Like, it slowed down, obviously, but I mean, I was just constantly motivated by people finding the content and commenting, and just finally being in a position that I had dreamed about being in. So it was awesome.
That is so cool. I mean, episode 1 by release, 1.9 million views.
Yeah.
What the hell,
crazy.
Dude? What the hell?
It's crazy. It doesn't feel real at all.
I mean, how much of that was... This is the question I always have, because it feels like I'm going to bring up Limport, for example, his Chunk Man. I mean, first of all, absolutely insane to have done all of the progress he did in one episode before he even made any videos. I think episode 1, correct me if I'm wrong, I think he killed 500, genocided Lumbridge. I mean, just completely, and got like 99 woodcutting all in one episode.
Yeah, it's absurd. Yeah,
absolutely ridiculous. I mean, that is just... If that didn't land well, like, oh my God, that would have been devastating to see. Just like a 500 view video, just all that work.
Yeah.
But it seemed like he blew up because it just got so much notoriety on Reddit, and everybody was sharing it. It seemed like he was like the new hot thing. For yours, was it more like algorithmic growth, where it was just YouTube was just sending it everywhere? Or was this really like a localized, like, Reddit's now jumping on the bandwagon and now it's being shared everywhere in the OSRS space?
Yeah, it's the question as old as time of how did this video blow up kind of thing. Obviously, Reddit played a part. Twitter sharing played a part. Algorithm definitely played a part. I think I wanted to make sure that in this time where everyone was coming up with these like snowflake ideas, because basically at that time in 2019, if you made a series, if you put episode 1 in the title of your series, you were getting tens of thousands of views no matter what. Like, there were so many, there was a new series every day coming out back then. So I wanted to make sure I got something out there, like in that little bubble, because everyone was seeing some major numbers. And I was like, this could be my chance. Like, maybe I should do a playthrough of some sort. It could be my way in, and I can figure out a way to keep my own style with it and not, just copy and paste a snowflake Iron Man thing. So that's what I did. And sure enough, people found it. It popped up. It was a RuneScape series episode 1. And I made sure to hold on to the momentum and do everything I possibly could with it.
And was it stress? I feel like this would be something that would stress me out if that happened to me, would be not knowing exactly the timing of when to release the next episode, or just the spacing of episodes. Did you ever feel like, man, I got to get this out now or people are going to forget that this series even exists?
Oh yeah. I felt that through the entire 6-year run period of it. It was always a battle to try and get the next episode out while trying to not sacrifice quality, because that's always a huge thing for any content creator to stand out. It's a very underrated aspect of content creation, believe it or not, is keeping quality at a high, because you do see all the YouTubers nowadays, especially, of just having editors full time, like pumping stuff out, and that's never been the way my stuff works at all. I've never been rushing anything to try and get out there as fast as possible, because it does work. It's a good strategy most of the time to get stuff out when there's like a relevant wave going on. It's by far the best way to get any sort of audience initially. But when you get that audience initially, you have to keep them there so that you're not just like a viral video once and then, people stop caring. So I basically set the bar. I set the bar for myself every new episode of upping the quality. And I think at the time, I'm sure it's been a while since you had settled on. I'm sure you guys talked about it at some point of Swampletics. He kind of played the account for a long time and then started making the videos on it. So he was able to pump them out once a week. I remember it was a big thing. It was like every Wednesday or something. And so there's this pressure to put one out once a week, which I tried to do at the very beginning until it was just at the point where it's like, I can't do that right now. I'm going to school still. I can't do one episode every week. It's impossible. So I had to like chill out and realize that people were still going to watch, even if it took a little longer than a week. And then obviously it like started taking a lot longer than a week. I think before Song of the Elves episode, I think it was 8 months or something between episodes, because I had done so many other projects at the time that weren't by release, which also eternally grateful I was able to do. But yeah, I mean, it was a very intimidating thing learning how a YouTube audience perceives a series and what their expectations are, and trying to compromise expectations versus meeting my own quality kind of thing. So it's brutal. It was a brutal process learning it, but after a while, I just kind of realized that I'm giving people free entertainment and it's gonna come out when it comes out, and nothing they could do about it. So that's kind of like the mentality I like kind of built throughout many years of learning, and that's kind of what I stuck with.
I mean, I feel like there is, it depends, like you said, if you're initially growing an audience, it's really just get yourself out there somehow, anyhow, just post stuff. And then, once you have the audience, just focus on the quality. It seems like nowadays, I mean, I have your channel pulled up and I'm just seeing like you pretty much post a video every month now. It seems like.
Yeah, I try to do once a month at least.
Is that like it just seems like that's a pretty good amount of videos to do, and especially if you put in the quality, people like look forward to it. It's not like, oh, Jimmy's posting a video every other day. All right, I'm not going to click on this one. But because you do it so rarely, I mean, relative to most OSRS creators, it's just like, I have to watch this Jimmy video because it is just this once a month thing now. Do you feel like there is this pressure now to not even upload that much? I know, you and Settled, Solo Mission, you guys, well, I think yours is what, Jimbo? Is that the one where you just post like other random stuff like clips and stuff?
Yeah, just like a second channel kind of thing. Just whenever.
You couldn't do that on your main channel, right? Like what is the actual like theory behind that, to not ever post just random stuff to your channel? Because obviously a lot of YouTubers do it just to like keep that purity of like not devaluing like or not like losing viewership or something, or keeping sponsors around. Like, what's the main driver for separating your content?
Yeah, I think having an underperforming video on a main channel is such a giant mental nightmare, I guess, because when it's your full-time job, you just get this I guess enormous pressure to outperform your last video every time. So putting something up that could potentially make people not want to come back or realize that your quality isn't prioritized anymore is just not ideal. So the second channel, a lot of creators will make one just to kind of post whatever. I hate the word slop because it's thrown around about everything nowadays, but that's what it started out as. It's just like throwing, quote unquote slop up on a second channel. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I wanted to talk about various times that I knew I couldn't make a full quality I don't know what the word would be, like click-worthy video to post up on the main channel because I knew it wouldn't perform well or potentially couldn't perform well. Like every time I would talk about like a RuneScape 3 fumble, since they've had quite a few of those over the years, I wanted to just turn my camera on and talk about stuff like very loosely outlined and just upload it and talk about it with people. And those performed really well. And there was a bunch of people that would comment on those like, oh, this is main channel. It's like, no, go look at main channel stuff and then come back here. There's actually a big difference in what I'm doing here. It's very, very different. Like I want to make sure that everything I put on main channel has a little sprinkle of something special in it. And like I said earlier, the bar, I'm constantly trying to set it higher and higher as best I realistically can with deadlines and stuff. But I want to make sure that nothing on my main channel is going to be looked at like, all right, this guy is not really caring anymore. Like he's not taking it as seriously. Because I know for me personally, I have YouTubers like Nakey Jakey who posts like once every Christmas basically nowadays. And I know that anything he posts, he has put his heart and soul into it. And I will watch anything he makes about any topic, even if it's topics that don't interest me at all, because it's unlike anything else on the platform. Like nobody's making things like him. So there's always going to be a little bit of that in what I do, because I know how much it means to me when a YouTuber's putting out something super special and taking their time and really, really caring about the projects they make. So I don't even remember what the question was at the start. But
doesn't even matter. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's just kind of going off. But yeah.
Do you think you would like what would be the end game for you YouTube wise? Like, would you like to like let's just say like money isn't even a thing anymore. I mean, would you want to be that guy that does the yearly Christmas video that's just an absolute masterpiece? I mean, is that what you aspire to do? Or do you like the kind of monthly sort of like, these are still putting my heart and soul into it, but it's not, obviously I'm not going to go above and beyond every single video because it's just unrealistic. Do you have like these kind of desires to like, I don't know, like what do you see yourself as, I guess, like 5 or 10 years down the line in the YouTube space?
Yeah, I think, I mean, obviously I would love to be in a, on the Nakey Jakey pedestal of like making these masterpieces and having the most rewatchable videos that have a lot of thought put into them. Like every time I upload, I'd love to have that. I don't think I get the views to do what he does in terms of making videos way less frequently, like being able to put so much more time into them. Because I mean, I got a mortgage. Like I gotta, it's a very cliche thing. Oh, rent's due, oh, bills are due, whatever. Yeah, I am a human. I have bills to pay. I do this full time. Very grateful. Will never take it for granted. It's the best job in the freaking universe. But there are videos that I have posted that I wish I had an extra month to work on. And every once in a while, I will be able to post a passion project like the World of Warcraft video I did from like a year. I think it's almost like 2 years ago now. I guess the summer maybe. I don't even remember when I posted that. But it became like the second most viewed video on the channel, and it was a video I worked on for about 10 months on and off, and just was finally able to put it up, and it performed exactly how I had imagined it would and hoped for it. I would love to do that for every video, and I wish I had people around me in real life that could work on projects with me like that and be able to put out higher production quality videos. But a lot of times it's just unrealistic between needing to meet deadlines and need to talk about relevant things that are, present topics that are going to be very irrelevant a month later. is always a big concern. But eventually, I think I do want to just get to the point where I can put out these very elaborate video essays, because I do have projects that I have just been working on for months and months and months that I simply can't prioritize like on the front of everything, because I need to work on the stuff that is going to be relevant and needs to be put out there in terms of deadlines and making sure that I stay on top of it. But maybe one day.
How much of your audience do you think is now purely old school RuneScape versus now kind of getting into the MMO space? Because I feel like there would be this fear of, I mean, for me, I mean, I'm just speaking personally. If I started uploading a video talking about World of Warcraft, for example, that I don't think that would go down well with my audience. You know, just even talking about it, because there's so many people that are absolutely drilled into OSRS. If you start kind of migrating from that, it's like, oh God, what are you doing? Did you have any, I don't know, fear of that? And do you think your audience actually has grown beyond OSRS now that you have covered other sort of MMOs?
So this is going to sound, I'm going to try not to sound like a piece of shit when I say this, but there's no guarantee. But if I have an audience member, if I have a subscriber or viewer who comes to my videos only for RuneScape, they're looking for RuneScape, I have no fucking idea why they're watching my video, because I have never been a source of just pure RuneScape. I have made it a priority to like make myself the video instead of the game, which obviously it is gonna. I do have a RuneScape audience, and it's the community I consider myself a part of, and where I started. It's my origins. But I've also made it very clear through my content throughout the years. I mean, this is ever since By Release started, that, you know, I'm not the RuneScape guy. You know, I have a lot more to say than just, you know, RuneScape stuff. Because I would go, my brain doesn't let me focus on one game anymore, especially not anymore. I have to branch out for my own sanity, because I've played RuneScape for so long that I can't just look at RuneScape. I've been playing RuneScape since second grade. I am 27 years old. I need to talk about other things. Like, I can't. There's no way I'm going to still be talking about RuneScape and seeing it the same way I have since I was a little child. So I've made it a goal of mine to make sure that whether I'm making a RuneScape video, a WoW video, a general gaming video essay, like, I'm coming at it from a perspective of my own, like, you know, trying to make sure that they're there for me at the end of the day. Like, a lot of YouTubers have realized this over the years. Like, you have to stop prioritizing the game and shift focus to yourself, as self-centered as that sounds, but ultimately it's kind of what it is. It's like, if you want to not pigeonhole yourself, you have to really make an effort to make sure that the entertainment is coming from you and not the game. Otherwise, you know, what happens if the game slows down or people aren't as interested in the thing you're doing in the game anymore? It's, you know, it's a very competitive world as a content creator. So I've always wanted to make an effort, at least make an effort, to put myself in the position to be able to branch out if I feel like it, which I did. And it worked out really well. It worked way better than I thought it would.
That's the best part about it, is it really has worked out very well. And that obviously speaks volumes for, like, people come to your videos for you. And I think another just element of your videos is that you are just right in front of the screen. You use a actually, this is the question. I just had Uberu on the last cast with his other hosts of his podcast that he does. But he wanted me to ask you this because I mentioned like I'm gonna have Jimmy on tomorrow, and he was like, okay, so Uberu has made some videos and he has like a tiny green screen, and he's like, how large is Jimmy's green screen? He's like fully like in the picture, and he just needed to know how big your is it like an entire green studio? Like, what are you using?
I painted my entire wall green. My wall is green. It's not a green screen.
Okay, got it.
I used to use the Elgato green screen back in the day, which was only about, I think it was 6 feet wide, and that limited me like crazy. I could barely, if I stretched my arms out, my arms would be cut off in the footage. So eventually, I was just like, I'm so tired of setting up green screens. Like even when I got, the larger screen, I was like, I can't stand this anymore. Taking it down, putting it up. Like, I own my house. I'm going to paint my wall green, and I did, and it's awesome. It's one of the best things I've ever done in content creation. Which obviously I wasn't able to do this when I was renting. Like I only bought a house like 2 years ago, and before that, I mean, I didn't have a choice. I had to work with screens, but yeah, it was always a big thing. Sometimes it still is, depending on what the situation is, of like not having enough room, whether it be the camera's lens problem or whatever I'm doing on screen. Like it's just, I have a wall behind me, and I've got my old green screen as the floor now. I just lay it across the floor so I can walk on it and get my whole body in there. But
that's amazing. Yeah, but that really is what makes the videos. I mean, if it was just you, just audio, I mean, I don't think people would really recognize your videos as well. But you have really just put yourself out there, and I think and honestly, like your videos, a lot of them, like at least the video essays, they have your face in it, and so you know what you're about to watch. I mean, when you're subscribed to so many people, you see a thumbnail and it's like it's got to pop out in some way. So I think you really have killed it. And here's the question though. I mean, by release is finished. In fact, I just had one more question on by release. You uploaded a 23-hour video, which I didn't even know was possible. I thought you were limited at 12. Did you have to like get permission for that, or is it just like you're such a big channel, they're like, just you're good?
I'm not sure how it works. I think if you're partnered, or not partnered, I don't know what it's called. Like as long as you're in the AdSense program, whatever it's called on YouTube, like if you're monetized, I'm pretty sure you could upload up to 24 hours. But also, like Josh Strife Hayes uploaded a 3-day long Morrowind playthrough. So I don't know how he did that. I don't know if that's possible anymore, but he definitely did it. So I have no idea. But 23 hours, that was good.
So I need to ask if you're willing to share the analytics. What's the average watch time on that? I mean, it can't be that high, right? Like, there's no way people are watching like, over a couple. I mean, I just based on, because I do upload some podcasts that are 4 hours generally, and nothing really goes over an hour. But yeah, I mean, 630,000 views. Do you have the number of like what the average watch time is? Because I imagine if it was pretty high, that's got to be some insane ad revenue.
It is. Average view duration is 1 hour and 10 minutes.
That's actually impressive.
That is very good, because I'm assuming people watch it like, in increments. So that would make sense. They're just leaving it on in the background or whatever. Yeah, those mega videos, they're definitely nice for ad revenue. I was actually just talking to Settled and Josh Isn't Gaming about these mega videos, and I'm not gonna like tell their information out there, but mine, like with these long videos, the RPM definitely goes up for the watch time. And apparently mine is extremely low compared to other mega videos. Because my RPM is $13 for this, and apparently that is low for these videos. So I was like, "What? That's low?" Like, it's pretty nuts.
I mean, 23 hour. I mean, just based on just podcasting in general. I mean, if you're uploading anything beyond 2 hours, you'll expect around, $10 to $12 RPM. But I just imagine, okay, 23 hours. I guess it really is just average view duration though. That has to be what it's actually basing it off
Yeah,
of.
definitely.
Because if it
That's
just
very
kept going
interesting.
up, that would have been like, I mean, you'd be looking at something like, I don't know, 40 or 50 or something, just wild. Yeah. So let's talk about like the future of your channel, because in fact there was a couple more things I wanted to talk about. World of Warcraft was one, Dragon Wilds, and also Brighter Shores, which are all games that you have covered. I gotta say, I actually never played Brighter Shores. My whole intention was just to watch a bunch of people play it and then kind of hear their take on it. And after watching your video essay on Brighter Shores, I was quite disappointed. And I had already watched some streams and people were already like kind of quitting left and right. And it's just kind of depressing because like it's this game where a lot of us were looking forward to, kind of. I think we all kind of were like a little bit hesitant on like, I don't know if this is actually going to slap as hard as we think, but holy crap, it seemed to just have so many clunky aspects to it, which was just unplayable.
Yeah.
So let's actually start with that. We'll just go briefly over that, and then I want to talk about Dragon Wilds as well. But yeah, how did you see Brighter Shores? Are people even playing that anymore? Like, is it just like a cult following now?
I don't think so. Yeah, I think even the cult following is pretty fed up with it right now. Let me look at their Steam charts. Looks like they've got 24-hour peak of 459 players. So I guess in terms of all Steam games, it's not bad, but I mean, not ideal for an MMO to say the least.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am disappointed with it. I didn't have high expectations for it. Like it wasn't something that I was counting down for or anything, but I was keeping very light track of when it was going to come out, and I was not even going to make a video on it, but then I played it and I just had so many thoughts, and I streamed while playing it, and it was just constant problems and discussions, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to make a video essay on it. And while I was making it, it was still, I think it was like second week that it was out, and it still had like very promising future updates in the works, or so it sounded like. And as I was making the video essay, Andrew Gower was like hot fixing the critiques I was making. Like, I mean, it wasn't like he knew the critiques yet. I had put the video out, but I had to go in and edit things out as I was making it because he had fixed them. So he was being extremely active and listening to the community, and he's like, okay, that's awesome. But I guess after that, it seems like he just kind of lost touch with listening to the community, or just started prioritizing very wrong things. And I think he just kind of lost his initial vision for it, if there was any. Like, I don't know what he was kind of expecting with this when it came out and all the content was laid out before everyone. It was like, how much longevity were you thinking here? Because this is not a complete game by any means. Obviously, it's early access, but if you watch the Dragon Wilds video, you know how I feel about early access. And it's just like very confusing of what his angle was with Brighter Shores. I'm not really sure, but it looks like everyone's kind of fed up with it, because I still follow their subreddit and stuff, which obviously it's Reddit. It's going to be filled with the most miserable people on the planet. So it's going to be miserable talking points, but that is a community for it. It is still their community. So they are mad. They're upset with this game's projection right now. It's not looking great. Which sucks because it's Andrew Gower.
No, like, you want him to succeed. He's the father of the game we all love. You know what I mean? It's just like, how could this have happened? I really do wonder, though. I mean, do you think he's just so out of touch, or it's just so hard to capture, that magic that he got with RuneScape, and he thought he could maybe recreate something like it? It just feels like, I don't know. Maybe it's just way harder than I can possibly imagine making an MMO these days that is, because Brighter Shores definitely is not your typical MMO. It's so different, and it's definitely more like boring, I guess, like intentionally. I think it's supposed to just be a long kind of grind game, but Yeah, there's just something off about it, and it is just kind of sad because I mean he had worked on it for like over a decade, and we're just kind of getting hyped about it. Like this could be the new thing that you can just like grind. You know, nobody was expecting like killing dragons and all these other crazy things, but just even that simplistic RuneScape style, I think it was even lost. At least what I saw, and I watched many videos on it. So
Yeah, I think a big problem with it was like Andrew Gower, he created RuneScape with his brothers, and you know, if you think back to when RuneScape originated in the MMO space at the time, it was so different from every other MMO ever. Like there was a reason people played it back then because it stood out so hard in compared to all the, I mean, it was like EverQuest, and then obviously WoW came out 2004 in the early days of RuneScape 2, and I mean it it was such a captivating game because you couldn't get that game anywhere else. Whereas in 2024, you can get that game somewhere else. It's RuneScape. It exists already. There's two of them even. Yep. And I think it wasn't an outside the box enough idea, because that's what RuneScape was. It existed in a space where there was nothing else like it. Whereas Brighter Shores didn't spread its wings enough. It didn't venture off from the RuneScape core enough. And I think that's where it went wrong, is there was just too many similarities. It was impossible not to compare the two, especially since people are already going to be comparing the two since he made the first one. He made RuneScape. So people went in with that bias already. So it's like, if you aren't going to make a completely different thing, then I don't know what to tell you. And I guess there was a lot of mistakes that, speaking on like the out of touch thing, I think people were calling it, I have no idea about it. It's called like Cube World or something. And people were saying the combat mechanics is essentially exactly what they did, and it was a disaster over there. Yeah. So the research wasn't there, apparently, because if it was, they would have seen how it played out with another game who already tried this exact thing and seen that it wasn't a good idea to implement. But I mean, making an MMO is no joke, like especially now in the locust swarm communities of MMO players. Like, if you're gonna make an MMO, you have to think about all of this extensively if you want to see success. And I really do think this was just a little passion project, and it was seen for a lot more than what it was. And I don't know if his expectations grew after seeing the interest, and then people expected more, or if it wasn't possible to do what people were requesting. I'm not sure. I don't know. Brighter Shores is a disaster right now.
Yeah. I will, like, just, I guess, at Andrew Gower's defense, it's not like he was going around advertising necessarily. He just had his Twitter. He was like, oh, hey, I worked on this on the game. I worked on this. It was like, this really was a passion project. He just wanted to make something. The dude's already a fucking multi-millionaire. I mean, worth hundreds of millions of dollars. He's chilling. Yeah. He doesn't need to do this, you know.
Exactly.
He's just doing it for fun. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's you could almost tell he was getting, I mean, he had to have been under so much stress, especially with all the hot fixes he was making. But man, as he seemed so even tempered, like in the development of it. And then as soon as it launched, he just was getting fucking frustrated on Twitter.
Yeah.
You could just tell, like every tweet was like,
right.
Yeah, it was bad. So I bet he's just like,
I just think making an MMO, like, I'm all for passion projects, obviously, but I think if he made Brighter Shores as an RPG and not a multiplayer MMO, since it's really not an MMO, like if you want to like look into it, it's not an MMO. If he just had it be a single player game, he could have optimized the shit out of it, focused way more on the game itself, and then released a passion project, and it would have been so much more successful. But making an MMO, I've said it many times in many videos, making an MMO is a stupid idea. It's such a dumb idea, and you have to have so much money and smarts behind you. It's like, you need to be so fucking confident you need to be thinking that you are going to surpass World of Warcraft and the revolution that caused if you're going to make an MMO in today's age.
Yep.
Unless you really don't care, because you are asking players to commit to your game hundreds and hundreds of hours, paying you monthly. There's so much more pressure on making an MMO versus just releasing a single player RPG or even just a co-op RPG, but where you could publish it, put out a few patches, and then move on, and you don't ever have to worry about it. But
yeah,
it's weird.
That would have been a much better move, I think. Just having it a single player, even if it was just purely single player. I don't even think the co-op for Brighter Swords in particular. I want to touch on actually Dragon Wilds, which I was actually very impressed with them not making that an absolute cash grab. It was just a one-off buy, and that's it. But I don't think they're even going to come out with their first patch for like a year or something stupid. Like, just I think that's what I heard. But
yeah.
How was your experience with that? I didn't play it. Again, this is just something I'm just so enveloped in RuneScape, and it's hard for me to even diversify even slightly. But I did watch a lot of the content. I watched your video in particular. Yeah, how did you like Dragon Wilds?
I think I've teeter-tottered on how I feel about that game so many times now, because I mean, at the end of the day, it's a survival crafting game, and I talked to a lot of friends who played it that don't have a RuneScape background, and they're just like, man, I've played this game 40 times already. Like, there are so many games that are just this already that I've played. It's not really anything special. And the more I looked at it, and the more people kept saying it, I don't know if it's just because I've read this so many times that I'm starting to believe it, or if it's just coming together, but it really does feel like there was a company making a survival crafting game already, and Jagex approached them, or they approached Jagex, and they were like, hey, what if we put a RuneScape spin on this? What if we just painted our assets RuneScape? What do we think about that? And they just grabbed it. I don't know what was going on with the development on the Rune. Yeah, it feels like that's exactly what happened. And if it didn't happen that way, sorry, but it feels like that how you made it. It feels a little underdone. It doesn't feel like there was a lot of RuneScape thought put into that RuneScape game.
Yeah,
and I got a lot of criticism about me saying stuff like that about the game.
Really?
But I did, yeah. I mean, a lot of people were in agreement, but when I make video essays, I don't expect everyone to agree with me.
Yeah. What were they saying?
Well, a lot of people were just like, for example, I brought up the armor stuff, the fact that in the game you go from, I think it was like, there's leather and there's hard leather, which, yes, okay, they're in RuneScape. They don't look anything like they do in RuneScape, but they are in the game. But then you go to bronze, and then you go to iron or paladin, which has the same exact stats as each other. And then that's it. That's your options for armor. And they skipped out on like the iconic RuneScape medals. So I was talking about that in the video, and people were like, if you want to play RuneScape, just go play RuneScape.
Oh my
this
God.
is a survival crafting thing. It's like, this is RuneScape, motherfuckers. They put RuneScape in the name.
Yeah.
I'm going to criticize this RuneScape game for not being RuneScape enough. So, there's a lot of that crowd.
That seems like the most basic thing ever, to just have at least the medals going up to Rune. It's RuneScape. Like, just have some metal. Like, that's the survival. It's the crafting. Like, make it so you can have rune armor. That makes no sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so many little things that people chose to get very petty about. But
I'm just surprised people were even coming to the defense of Jagex on that, because that seems like they're defending Jagex in a way. It's like, who is ready to defend them? But I guess, especially after the whole fiasco in January of them trying to up the membership prices again.
Yeah.
Did you make a video essay on that at all, or did you just skip right by it? I actually wasn't aware.
The membership stuff?
Yeah, the $32.49 a month or whatever.
I think that was a second channel thing, if I'm thinking of the same thing you are, with like the survey of like different scenarios and stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I talked about that in I did do that. Yeah, it was while I was still playing WoW, like in the middle of all that. It was it was such a big deal that it transcended into my chat during my WoW adventure. People being like, "What do you think about this?" And people were asking so much that I had to make a video on it. I had to look into it, and very interesting. But yeah, people kind of forgot about that pretty fast, which they do when it comes to RuneScape.
Yeah.
But I guess the I think last time I had streamed for like the Gary party thing, someone asked about it. They were like, "What do you think about?" Or they were like asking for an update. They're like, "Hey, whatever happened with the RuneScape membership stuff? Like, it looks like a lot of people are still playing." I'm like, yeah, the CEO is gone, is what happened. That guy's gone." Everyone's like laughing about it because, I mean, I don't know if he was planning on leaving before that. It doesn't really look like it. There was nothing really hinting at that he would be going away. So I think that was because that got covered by everybody. That was covered by Critical, Asmongold, huge people in on platforms that brought attention to that, which is gonna get people that don't even play RuneScape to turn their heads at it. So that was a big deal. That was a huge fumble. Probably like one of the biggest fumbles in old school history, at least. But yeah, that was big.
It's crazy how quickly it just all blew over. I mean, there was people on Reddit that were trying to keep it alive. Like, come on, guys, did we all forget? It's only been 5 days. Like, keep the riots going. And it's like, oh, we all just got bored. But
yeah, I mean, I don't know what more they could want. The CEO is gone. Like, I don't know what more you want out of that. As long as they don't do it, it's fine. Like, it's whatever.
I want to touch on sailing a little bit because that's going to be coming out guaranteed pretty much this year. I mean, I'm sure it's a guarantee at this point. There's no way I've missed something where there's going to do like another like a last minute poll or something. I mean, this is coming into the game, and they said it for sure will come out this year. And when I talked to Madalena, or maybe it was Husky, they said probably November is what they're looking at for the release of it. Yeah, what are your thoughts? I mean, you did a full cover of it. I remember your biggest gripe really was, I mean, actually I think it wasn't necessarily your biggest gripe. It was the thing that you're kind of worried about is like that sailing feels so good with the discovery of new stuff. But as soon as that's over, like as soon as you've discovered all the islands, it's like, okay, now what, you know? Are you worried at all about the release of sailing, or do you lean more optimistic?
I feel like I'm kind of neutral about it. I don't know. What are your thoughts on it? First of all, I feel like this is like a politics thing. Like, if, we could have very different opinions, and I don't want to just come out swinging at you here. So,
so let me give my take. So, a few months ago, before the alpha dropped, you could tell this is it's like kind of culty. It's a little bit like, there's people that are absolutely anti-sailing and they'll never want it. Weird. And then the people that have now opposed that side. And so now sailing can do no wrong. And it's really bizarre. And so you got like two sides. And I made like the conscious decision. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to remain completely transparent and honest about how I genuinely feel about this, because ultimately I think that's what people really want. It's just actual honesty about it. And so I originally, it's all just kind of trace the journey back to when sailing was first proposed with taming and shamanism. And I actually was leaning on taming at first. That's kind of the skill I wanted at first. But then they actually brought out the proposal, and it was so embarrassing. It was like empty. It was just like they were so terrified of anything relating to summoning that it was going to be like taming, but with nothing. I mean, just that we were too scared of having it have any effect in the game at all. It's just going to be like collecting new animals or something. That's it. Which was quite upsetting because I never actually played during summoning, and that actually sounds like a kind of cool thing as long as it's balanced.
Oh, okay. So you were never there for the initial summoning.
No.
Okay.
And I know so many people that just saw summoning. Anything about it can never enter this game, because it was just so broken, and it broke everything, and it just made it. And I will completely agree to that. I think the idea of taming, at least in my head, it was cool because it almost seemed like a Pokemon sort of element to this game, where you'd have like these animals you can collect and tame, and they have their own levels. And so you're almost like leveling up your character to level up other monsters, like an inception of leveling up. And I just thought that would be interesting. I don't know how they would have gone about it, but then they actually gave their proposal on a Q&A, and I was like, Jesus Christ, yeah, this is bad. So then I moved to sailing because shamanism I knew, and in fact, when we saw Ruinous Powers, that new prayer book they had tried to propose, that was a disaster in my opinion, because it would have it's just, we don't need a new prayer book. We just need new prayers. That's fine. We can introduce new prayers. But the new prayer book, it was very clear to me that if you start introducing too much complexity to PVM, it becomes a nightmare, and it's no longer old school. It doesn't have that simplistic charm of just like clicking your prayers. And shamanism was all about these auras and these like new imbues on everything. And if you don't have this triple imbue on this plate body, then what are you doing, you clown? You can't enter our top if you don't have these auras and whatever the hell else. I don't know.
Yeah.
So that scared me. Sailing was cool, but the fantasy of it in my mind was so much cooler. And then when we actually started seeing it, the alpha, I became very honest about it. In fact, even months prior when they showed on the Q&A, just the boats on the water, I'm like, oh, this looks so bad. Like, I understand they're using this crappy engine, which I don't know why they do that. I do not know why they publicly show a non-RuneLite version of the game where it's like you can only see like 20 tiles ahead of you and it's all black sky and the boat just looks like shit. And I'm like, dude, this is not a good look. It's not. And they always have the disclaimer like, this is not what it's going to look like. But I'm like, don't show this then. Like, holy fuck. But anyway, so just to get back to the present moment, I guess just a couple months ago with the alpha, I did play the alpha, and I was so claustrophobic on the water. That's my honest take on it.
I could totally see that. Yeah.
I would get on it. My boat was going so slow. It only went 1.5 tiles per tick. That's slower than running. And my concern was that I didn't really know if boats were going to get any faster than that. Like maybe they'd get a little bit faster, but I didn't know to what extent. So, but if we were traveling at that speed and not even being able to see, 30 tiles ahead of us, I felt so claustrophobic and I felt so sluggish that I felt this is just like a natural response. Like I was feeling a sense of relief when I'd get off of my boat. I was like, oh my God, okay, I can breathe again. Like, it's just so bad. Like, seriously, that's actually how I felt.
Yeah.
And
I could totally see that.
Yeah, I just felt lost, and I felt like everything was so sluggish and slow. And so those are my three biggest gripes were the render distance needed to be much, much, much farther. Like, I wanted to just be able to see everything, like super far away. That would have just made everything better. I wanted the boat to move much, much, much faster. And I think the last thing I wanted was oh crap, now I'm forgetting what the third thing was, but it really was it was just that. It was just like making it actually fun being on the water and not having it super hyper realistic. I even mentioned something, and then I'll let you go, was just like when we're on the water, let's have some fun. Let's have like some actual speed boosts. I even brought up something like, when you play Mario Kart and at the beginning of the match, when the light turns green, if you press A, like right then you get a speed boost. That's the kind of stuff I wanted to see on your boat, where it's like when you start off your boat, if you like double click or something, your guy just starts launching off like really fast. Like that would just be fun because it's a video game. We don't want to just realistically go slow as hell, like just getting off of the port. Anyway, I had a lot of gripes with it, but it was mainly just like, I don't like being on this boat and it sucks.
Yeah, I think the wind catcher thing, whatever it was called, should be like the default speed. Like when you click that and it kind of boosts you up, I think that should be like what it's already going as.
Yes.
Like, I don't think you shouldn't have to. I get it. It's sailing. It's not a power boat, but still for the sake, it's a video game also. So
yeah, that's important.
It should be a little faster pace, I think. But then
so
again,
so now my take. It's a little bit more on the like pessimistic side. I will say though, I did talk to JMods over the past couple months, and they were very much like, you know what, these boats really can go faster. We're aware of all the feedback we've gotten. Speed really does mean something, and we want to expand the draw distance 100%, and hopefully just having the alpha B levels 1 to 30 can show you that there's so much more that can be offered. And I'm like, okay, like I'm a little bit more, I guess, receptive. I'm like you though. I think I'm neutral, but let me hear your take now Now that you can probably be honest if it is a little bit more pessimistic, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like you said with sailing, it's these, you're either far left or far right about this. Apparently, like it is like it
There
is
is no
crazy.
centrists.
Yeah, like you gotta pick one. Apparently, like I've what I was gonna say earlier with it when it comes to video essays, I've learned a lot about passion when it comes to RuneScape, which is, I mean, that's fine. That's good. Every good game, especially MMOs, is going to have very passionate players that feel, very connected to every update and decision because they're a part of the world, and it's very understandable. And I've gotten some very crazy feedback on things just based on like things I didn't even think about when I said it out loud, really. Like just not really, just throwing comments out there, especially during the sailing thing, that I had no idea I'd be offending people so hard. Like I'm personally attacking their families talking about sailing. But that's with anything.
Yeah.
Like people can choose to get that passionate about anything, which I'm not going to complain about it. They're commenting on my video. It's good. But, I didn't know it was that deep. I didn't realize it was like, I know a new skill is a very big deal. I'm not trying to say that, but good God, it was a real eye opener for how passionate people are about sailing. But I think for me personally, it boils down to, I mean, I don't really care because like if they put sailing in the game, I'm not going to log in and be on the boat and have to do it. So, I mean, go ahead, put it in the game. I'll do it eventually, maybe. I'm assuming they're going to listen to all the feedback. Great. I mean, I know I said so many things during the video and I still believe all of it. But I mean, in this present moment right now, that's how I'm feeling about it. With sailing in particular, like diving into it, actually analyzing it. I still firmly believe, and this is what is going to get me some critiques. It did get me some critiques. I still think that sailing should have simply either been a mini game or just a navigation mechanic. I don't think it should be a skill. It doesn't feel like a RuneScape skill. It doesn't work like a RuneScape skill. I think there's so many things that feel very forced about the mechanics of it that it just doesn't feel like RuneScape. It doesn't feel like I'm training a RuneScape skill. Contrary to what a lot of Reddit believes, I've trained many RuneScape skills before, and it doesn't feel like them, actually. It feels like a fucking mini game. If you've done any of those in RuneScape before, it feels like a mini game. So I still don't think it should be added as a skill. I don't believe it should. I think it could be a fun addition to the game. I'm not saying that. I think it could be great. I think there's a lot of ways to improve what they've made and make it really fun and interactive and cool and work its way into different skills of the game. But I don't know. Something just feels off about it. I'm trying to think of a comparison here, but like it's almost like making like architecture a skill when you have construction and like you're doing the planning of it or something instead of just like I don't know what the fuck I'm trying to think here.
I'm 100% with you. I just feel like even saying the words it should be a mini game puts you in this camp where like people they just stop listening. They're like, no,
people are gonna shoot me after this, dude. I'm gonna be dead in the streets tomorrow.
100%. But listen, the thing I'm looking forward to most about sailing is going to a new island and playing RuneScape on land. Have nothing to do with the water. Like as soon as I'm on the water, I'm like, okay, I'm just literally just a means to an end to just get to a new place because I hate being on the water. I don't want to fucking go to some random salvage and just 3-tick a salvage, or I'm actually star mining right now as we speak. And it's just like, this on the water. Really? This is how we're going to be training it.
Yeah.
I just feel like sailing has a lot of potential. And that was my third critique. So it was the draw distance, the speed of the boat, and the XP rates, because what was proposed initially, and they have taken the statement back, was they were looking at like 100K an hour at the top end. I'm like, No.
Yeah.
Listen, you have this beautiful opportunity right now. Like, we are living in the enlightenment stage of old school RuneScape, where we're actually more focusing on fun in this game. There still needs to be balance. There still needs to be some element of integrity, but really we should just lean into the fun aspect. And you have this absolutely fresh skill that can come out and have absolutely nothing to do with the masochism we saw with old school skilling. It literally, this is sailing. It doesn't need to be miserable at all. It really doesn't need to be miserable. So stop trying to lean into that misery that we've all, we're all used to, because RuneScape does have a lot of miserable aspects to it that we just kind of accept because it's nostalgic, I guess. Dude, sailing does not need to be that. Sailing could be a skill that's 300K an hour. It could be just hella fun. It could be more team focused. It doesn't need to have these gatekeepers of like, oh, this XP rate needs to be this when you're doing the salvaging, and you need your herb and tar to do this. And like, can we just avoid all of that? Can we please avoid all that? We don't need to get there.
I think a lot of what I'm saying is very much oriented, like it originates in the fact that I still remember how much of a meme sailing was growing up as a kid, with people around me saying sailing, sailing, sailing. Like it was one of like 5 memes back in the day that like got its way around RuneScape. Like everybody was aware of it. And it was a callback to a funny prank or whatever, like for years and years. So I think for me, it's really just rooted in what was always a meme. And so I think knowing that, I just have this bias towards thinking it's a completely forced thing put in the game, because it's just always been a joke. And the fact that they made it into a real thing, I mean, there's people that I don't think this at all, but I've heard so many people think that they tampered with the polls to like make sure this passes. Like they redid polls to force this thing to get into the game because they wanted it so bad for some reason. I don't know, dude. Sailing is just weird to me. It doesn't feel correct. There's weird things about it.
They actually did, by the way.
Did they?
Well, the history was, I think it was 2022. I think it was like September, October or something of 2022. They unpolled changed polling to be 70% threshold instead of 75. It was always 75.
Oh, I do remember that. Yeah.
And sailing passed at 73%.
Yeah, so I guess technically.
So it was tampered with. Now, did they know? I guess so, yeah. Did they know? I mean, technically 70% is still a super majority. So yeah, it's not the end of the world. But
I get that.
People will lean on like, okay. But the tampering, you know what? I got rid of my conspiracy mind with back when the polls were like hidden, like they were they weren't hidden. They were actually, okay, now I'm trying to remember the polling history. All I remember though is that when warding was being polled, I thought 100% this is passing, even though it seems like nobody wants it. Yeah, and when it failed, I was like, okay, you know what? There is no conspiracy. They actually straight up wanted this so bad, and they took the L. Okay, so I was like, all right, I'll believe you guys from now on with the polling.
I remember that was the first time I got bullied by high-level community when I was saying you guys are a bunch of babies for not wanting warding.
Did you want it?
Well, I didn't really know anything about it. I was just like, oh, new skill. That sounds fun. This was so fucking long ago.
Okay,
that was like, I remember that was like, when was that? That was like
27 or 2019. When was that?
2019. Yeah, I think it was 2019. Yeah. It was.
Holy crap.
I remember I tweeted something like I didn't even think about it. Like I was just like, you guys are a bunch of babies, and then like all these K-pop profile pictures came out of nowhere. No. I remember I blocked like so many people back then.
Oh, you have to. You have to do it quickly too. If you give them any fucking you have to ban all of them immediately.
Yeah, that was goofy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know, man. I'm not gonna be on the front line saying sailing shouldn't be a skill, but I just casually believe that.
Yeah,
I don't.
That's what's important because, at this point, if you're still trying to gatekeep, other people's, experience with the game, that's one thing. But you should still be able to voice your opinions and not feel like you're going to get attacked on the streets, for what you what your thoughts are on the video game. So
Yeah.
I think it's cool to talk about it, but ultimately, yeah, if sailing comes in, I'm going to try to just enjoy myself, just like any update that comes in. Like, okay, whatever, it's in here. Let's have some fun.
Yeah, it's the constant battle of, since my videos kind of transformed over the years. I started making video essays, really. Like I started as a class project with the why people play RuneScape video. I'd made the evolution of construction videos, like my first like on green screen appearance sort of thing, and then did the why people play RuneScape. And then I slowly started adding my opinion to things. And that's when I realized for the first time, like, people are going to disagree, which is good. People should disagree. It's just when people take it personally is the problem. And when that happens, you got to just accept it, that, maybe it's a thing they chose to channel their energy into, and, maybe they don't think they're taking it personally, even though they are, kind of thing. But it's always been a battle for me because I don't have a max cape in the game. And a lot of people think I don't play RuneScape, or I have never played it, or I don't enjoy it. I don't like the game, when it could not be further from the truth, which people will love to pull the card, dude. I'll say something completely grounded in logic with examples from other games, and people will type my name into the high scores and be like, yeah, well, you haven't done Theater of Blood. It's like, okay. Thank you.
And here's the worst part. Coming from me, an absolute nerd at the game that has Max and Iron Man, you get the same thing the opposite way, where you don't understand the other players. You're just a virgin that's played so much RuneScape. There's no winning. There's no exact threshold you need to be at that'll just have everybody accept how you play. But yeah,
because I had seen, because a lot of times people in my Discord will like send me links to people making like Reddit posts about me and stuff. And so after I made the sailing one, I don't even know why I click on them anymore. Reddit is just such a weird place, man. It's so bad. It's just every argument is just like a fallacy of some sort, and it's like it's crazy. But and then so many people are pulling that card.
Sane person, and it's got a few like downvotes or something. It's just like way in the back. Like, okay, nobody's gonna see this one.
It's crazy because every once in a while, like, I'll just be looking through, because like every other week someone will make a post about like, who's your favorite content creator? Who is it? And they all say everybody's name, and I'll just see like blatant lies about myself like from random people, which is a bizarre feeling. Because like, what do you even do in that scenario where you see someone saying something about you, but like
you can't respond to it, or
it's like, what am I gonna do?
You look like an absolute weirdo. Like, how are you even in this thread? First off, and like, why do you care so much? But it's like, that other people are gonna read it when it's a clear lie, and then when it gets upvoted, it's like, who the fuck believes this? What?
I saw some random comment who was like, oh, I used to hang out in Jimmy's clan chat, but he just shows up once a month and shit talks somebody and then leaves. I'm like, what? And it had like 17 upvotes. I'm like, who the fuckers? There's 17 humans that are upvoting this not true comment right now, and everyone's gonna be like, oh, well, that's true now forever because that guy said it and it had credibility with upvotes. It's such a weird website, man.
It is so easy. Like these days, it is an actual it's like a pastime to just hate on people that have any notoriety in the content creation sphere. You just gotta hate on them. Like you just have to. If you're not, like, what are you doing? Then you're like, glazing them. You can't be a glazer. You just gotta hate everything that anybody that's in the public sphere is doing.
Yeah,
it's very bizarre. I mean,
weird space.
Remember Settled's whole fiasco with his girlfriend at the time that was playing his account?
Sure do. I was there next to him when it all happened.
Oh god, like that is a nothing burger on steroids. I mean, it's just literally, who cares? But man, it's like you get anything. You just get any dirt on anybody. It's not even dirt. It's actually just cleaner. It's not even dirt, but it's just people will just, until the end of time, flame you for it. It's almost, I think it's almost better to just have so much controversy that people don't even know where to start. But as soon as you're like an actual really good person and you make one little thing that's not even that controversial, but just slightly, it'll just, everybody will jump on it. It's bizarre how that works.
Yeah, it is what it is. It's just how the internet works, I guess. It's fine.
Yeah. I think
I've accepted it. I just accepted it at this point.
Yeah, you have to accept it, and you also have to recognize, it's just, you have to recognize, like, people really don't care. The people that are really, like, the ones upvoting are the ones that are just saying stuff like that. Nobody really cares. Nobody's listening to that. Like, if I read that, I'd be like, I'm just going to take that with a grain of salt. It's fucking Reddit. But the other thing is just knowing how massive your supporters are, how many people actually love your content, how many people, look up to you as a content creator and whatever else. And I think that's what's important for the perspective. I mean, even just as like an example, me just podcasting. I mean, this is definitely a tougher medium where you're just completely sharing your thoughts right off the bat. It's not really super well thought out. So you'll say things, like I'll say things all the time where it's like, okay, I probably didn't mean that exactly, but I'm just shit talking, or spitballing or whatever. And you'll just get one comment that will absolutely rail you for something you said. And it's like, God damn, like that, that sucks. But ultimately, I do have a lot of people that love the cast and they'll just listen to it. I'm like, you know what? I have to remember those people, not the one person in the comments that repeatedly will comment something negative. I'm like, it's just easy to focus on the negative stuff. But yeah, I think it's just easy to.
Oh yeah. For every 100 positive comments, you see the one negative. Like, it's so easy to just breeze on by the highest praise, the greatest thing any human could tell you, just an absolute honor to hear another person say something so nice about you. And then the comment below him says like, dude, your head looks big. And you're just thinking about that. Yeah. Like that's the one that sits with you. Which I did get in my last video, by the way. My camera was set up weird, I think, and my head looked huge. People kept commenting that. It's fine.
You should just lean into it. You should lean into it and make the next video just even larger.
I was thinking about it. I was like, it'd be very funny. Yeah. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, there's also, this is actually something we just talked about on the last podcast, was when somebody, does, point out something that maybe you're insecure about, the last thing you can do is make it known that you're insecure about it or make it known that it affected you.
Yeah.
As soon as you do that, it's over. I mean, it'll be a meme of all time, because they know it affected you. So.
Yeah. I'll always lean into stuff like that. Like I remember, like, while I was playing World of Warcraft, there was a quest reward. Like at the end of quest, have you ever played World of Warcraft at all?
No, I played it one day when I was like 10.
Yeah, that's the story with a lot of RuneScape players.
Yeah,
the same thing. But basically, when you complete a quest, quote unquote quest, very different in WoW, is go kill 10 goblins over there, and then come back, turn in the quest, and then you could accept one of 3 items as a reward. Yep. And there was a very cool quest that I did with the leader of the guild at the time, Soda Poppin', and we got back and to turn in the quest, and it was a quest that like really I would have never done if I didn't have like some of the best players next to me doing. And there was a choice to make between pants, and I was playing a warrior, and warriors in that game usually wear either chainmail or plate armor. So I looked directly at the chainmail pants, and I was like, oh, look at that. Like the armor was like double the amount. I was like, that's so sick. Like I'm going to be a tank, dude. Like that's awesome. So I clicked it and I accepted it. And then I look over at my chat. Everyone's like screaming, wrong pants, don't click. No. And turns out that the leather pants that I could have picked in that moment, the reason why people even do that quest in the first place is like would have lasted me the next month of gameplay. And I I just didn't click them. I just didn't grab them. I got pants that were worse than the ones I was wearing.
Oh no.
And I became the pants guy during my WoW era. Like there was a command in my chat just that called pants that would link the clip. Soda Poppin was watching it on his stream in front of 30,000 people.
Oh my god.
It was so goofy. But I just, I leaned into it. I could have been mad. I could have been upset. I'm like, guys, shut up. I don't know what it is. But like, instead I was just like, you know what? Canonically, this is what I would have picked. If I was playing this game for the first time in 2006, I would have picked these pants because I'm a warrior. This is my decision. I stand by my decision kind of thing. And it was just memed on the whole time. But there's a lot of shit that I saw creators like really react the wrong way during the WoW stuff. In fact, one of them was so big it might be the biggest reaction fumble in the history of Twitch.
Oh no, what?
Did you hear about the pirate software stuff?
I don't think so.
Oh, dude.
What happened?
Oh boy. So this is, I'm not going to go too into it because there's been so much development of this thing and it's crazy how long it has gone on. But do you know Pirate Software? He's like huge on like YouTube Shorts and stuff. That's like where he blew up. I don't know if you've seen.
Oh wait. That's the guy's name you're saying? Isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, I think I did see this. This was something about him basically pretending to do guideless things, but it's very fucking clear that he knew what he was doing and he's like solving things.
That is the aftermath of the situation.
Oh god. Okay, I need to know about this. I saw one short on this. That's it.
That all happened because of this reaction. That caused a chain reaction of digging shit up on Pirate Software.
No.
This all happened because he ran away in a dungeon from people. He ran out of the dungeon, this hardcore dungeon. I think it got one player killed in a level 60 dungeon. And just his simple reaction was enough to create the greatest World of Warcraft meme and biggest hate train in the history of Twitch.
Holy.
Because of this one decision.
What was the reaction? Like what happened? Because this is the stuff I don't know. All I saw, I think it was even like was it Dr. K? Is that who? I think he had him on.
Yes,
it was like
he did.
It was like a short of him saying something, and then I read some comments, and it was this is all I know about it. So what happened?
So I guess I'll try to put this in RuneScape terms for people that don't know WoW. So imagine you're in Theater of Blood, or you're in, let's see, probably not Theater of Blood. Let me think. Let's do TOA, and you're in the monkey room before you get to the big monkey, and you got the little guys all running around. And you're on a hardcore, and in this scenario, I know it's not true in the real game, but if you die here, you lose your hardcore status in this monkey room. And suddenly you realize there's too many monkeys that spawned. We didn't get rid of the freaking spawner. There's way too many of them. Let's run out. Let's run through the barrier. Everybody follow me. Come on. And the first guy out of the barrier was the one guy with Ice Barrage that could have stopped them from getting to you. And then he says, I don't know what you wanted to do. What you wanted me to do. I didn't have any runes left. Even though he had ample amount of runes to save you, and you died. But then they are in complete denial that they had no power to stop the frickin' monkeys from getting to you because they were already away from you. They had no way of saving you if they could have because they ran away so fast. It was essentially that, but in WoW. He could have stopped.
Why would he have done that? I mean, isn't it very clear that what he's saying is a lie then?
Yeah. It was like he never really the problem was that he never really owned up to it. Like he never made a direct apology to put any weight of the scenario on himself. Every time he made any form of like apology, he would rope everybody else into it. Like I apologize. We all made mistakes. Like, he
Oh
would
my
always
God.
kind of circle around the fact that it wasn't all him. It wasn't his fault, kind of thing. And it just led to just hate trains and hate trains. Like, it was unlike anything I've ever seen. And then it's been, I think in the Dr. K, I watched the entire like 3-hour thing because I was so intrigued by it, because it was the first time that it was like a civil conversation about it. And all the hate and everything has been continuing. I think the whole thing with it was like, it was continuing 100 days later. He was still banning like hundreds of people a day because they were coming in just saying, what do you want me to do? Like quoting him from that day, or like saying the word mana gem, which is the thing that he could have clicked to give himself, the runes he needed to cast it, even if he was completely out. So there's just so many things that he did wrong to react to that, and then didn't take accountability.
So you're saying that is what started uncovering other things that he had done?
Yes.
Oh my God. So,
it started a chain reaction.
Let me also just ask, like, because I don't know anything about this guy other than like maybe I've seen a couple shorts from him earlier on. How big is this guy? Like,
huge.
Okay.
He is like, he's the king of YouTube shorts essentially, or he was at some point. Like he figured out the algorithm for YouTube shorts, and he made them in a way that really brought him as a creator to the top. Like a lot of viral YouTube shorts will be like movie clips with subtitles over them or something, but he figured out a way to bring himself to the front center stage and like make a YouTube short about it and give life advice and wholesome fucking scenarios, just talking about life, good advice, funny situations. Like, it's all lighthearted stuff. So everyone from the shorts saw him as like this wholesome guy. He's very nice. He's knowledgeable, and he used to work at Blizzard, and he has game knowledge and insight to things. And the second he slipped up, it was game over. People were like digging into every crevice of his life. It was crazy. It was like, I mean,
I just heard
he handled it wrong, but it showed the wrath of the internet. Basically, it's pretty sad to see. But what are you gonna do?
I'm just curious if you know about the one thing that I'm referencing, where it was like he solved something that the community couldn't solve as a whole for like a week.
Animal well, yeah.
What was that? I mean, that is so bizarre to just pretend like you figured something out. Like, how do you? It's just so weird to me. But
yeah, I think that was just a case of people trying to create some narrative about it. I don't believe that, because it wasn't like he was solving it himself the whole time. It was him and his entire chat doing it. He had talked about that on Dr. K, I think, a little bit.
So the hate train is just leading into these other things now. Yes. It's just like, we have to hate on everything he's done now.
I see. When I say every crevice of his life, I think people dug into every year he has been alive to try and find anything he ever said or did to try and like bring it to light. Like, this was the most severe case of trying to fuck somebody's life up over a situation, all because of a WoW hardcore dungeon and a wrong reaction to it. Like,
oh my God.
Full circle reaction. Like, it's crazy what it could do.
I mean, and like you said, I mean, with your reaction to the pants, you just have to own it. You have to own it. And if it's a mistake you made, just admit it. Like, I know there is this kind of idea now in the content creator sphere that never admit a mistake or just move on or never say anything. Like, dude, just admit it. Just admit you made a mistake. It's so much better, and it's so much more human. Like, what are you trying to do? It's so bizarre to me.
I think a big problem too is a lot of people will forget that content creators are humans that develop thoughts and can change minds, like that change their minds about things. Like, if I looked back at my video essays from like 2021, there's probably so many things I'd be like, that guy's an idiot saying that out loud right now. Like, what was I saying? Why did I say that? I don't believe that anymore. Because, I'm living life, and I'm learning, and I'm seeing perspectives, and a lot of times people's arguments will refer things from like 5 years ago, and like, you don't know if that person thinks that way anymore, kind of thing. So
Yeah.
it's a very interesting space to be in. Saying opinions about things is very weird sometimes, can lead to unpredictable comments and different people approaching you. I don't know. It's goofy.
There was I remember maybe it was a year ago or something, you had like this back and forth, like reacting to like an Asmongold video
Yeah.
or something. And
The money glitch. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. And then he was, I mean, there's so many eyeballs on your content to have, somebody that big. But at least what I've seen lately, I mean, I don't know. Asmongold is now like, he's turned so political that it's just like,
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know if you could do the same thing these days. It wouldn't come across as well. I think even a year or year and a half ago, whenever that was, it's a little bit lighter on the like the politics and everything. But I wonder sometimes about those creators that get so big and they turn to politics. I mean, it's such a massive space where you can make so much money just being ideological on something, and having it be political. So, yeah, when are you going to make that turn into politics?
Yeah, for real. Yeah, I was just talking about this, just of how sad it's made me, like, seeing the direction Asmongold's gone to. Like, politics aside, like, no one knows my political beliefs, and no one ever will. Like, I'll never go into that space.
It's just pointless. Yeah, it's pointless to even. Yeah.
When I see Asmongold go into the political side of things, it just made me really sad, because, like, people had strong opinions about him before, but now, I mean, it's due to, like, real life shit, like real life opinions. Real life opinions differ greatly from video game opinions.
Yeah.
Like, there's there's many degrees of difference between talking about video game topics and real life politics. And somebody who talks about video game things, I would hope nobody would look at me with a serious face if I ever gave a political opinion. I'm just a fucking guy, like, that plays a lot of video games and says what they think about video game topics. And Asmongold, for some reason, just skyrocketed with all this shit and just ran with it. Because, yeah, it is some of the most success he's ever seen. You're talking about politics, but I mean, it's just sad as someone who appreciated a lot of the shit that he said about video games in the past.
Yep.
It's really, really sad seeing it. Like, it actually made me legitimately sad, like, watching the direction he went in. And because, I mean, I used to kind of stick up for him a little bit when, because a lot of people before politics started with him, they would still, like, trash talk him, and there's a lot of very easy angles you can take to criticize Asmongold. Very understandable, but I had always had some respect for him as somebody who made very sound arguments about video game topics, and had, obviously he said some very dumb shit before about video games that I disagreed with when he was reacting to my stuff, especially, but I still respected him from a creator standpoint, and I would try and make it known that, I have no intent of bringing a negative light to him. And like, when I was doing those reactions to reactions thing,
Mm-hmm.
and it just really, really sucks now that there's no defending him now. I can't. There's no way I could. No, it can't happen.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy seeing that, because I wasn't really a huge Asmongold fan in the first place, but I would follow him, and I actually enjoyed his streams years back. They were just because I never played WoW, so he would play WoW, and I just loved his commentary on stuff. It was just interesting.
Yeah.
He was so bold about so many things. He would get so passionate about stuff, and he was very articulate, and it was just cool to hear his takes on things. But Jesus Christ, yeah, it's crazy. Just the turn. But man, the amount of money in that space is absolutely ludicrous.
It's nuts. Yeah. I've had full, like, 2-hour discussions diving into the like psychology behind Asmongold's community and everything at this point.
Oh my God.
Like, it's crazy, man. He, like, the sad part is I really don't think he has any idea of what he's cultivated. Like that's I'm not going to go into it. This isn't the Asmongold critique podcast, but it is very sad seeing like this image that's been created through his YouTube clips. Like his editor on YouTube has, I think, taken the reins completely to shape a certain narrative, and I don't think Asmon has any awareness about this at all. Like I hope he doesn't, for the sake of, if he's ever looked at his own comment section, I really hope he hasn't, seen what people say and the community he's gathered.
I don't know,
sad, man. It's so sad. It really is.
It's sometimes I have to just imagine that they do kind of know exactly what's happening. I mean, how can you be the person and not understand what's happening?
Yeah.
But it feels like, and I'll move on beyond this just because it does get a little bit more like political based, but just thinking of somebody like Joe Rogan, for example. I mean, you can always play the idiot of just like, oh, well, I didn't know what I was doing, or like I didn't know what potential damage was being caused by I'm just doing whatever I'm doing. And I feel like there always is that like kind of reset. You just like, as Asmon, you just be like, oh, I didn't know I was doing that. Like it's just kind of like you just play it as like not serious or something. But yeah, it's crazy, and the space we're in right now is bizarre. But you're right about, imagine you doing that. You are a video game content creator. Imagine you went people. The bizarre thing is people would actually respect what you do have to say, because people already like what you say about video games. And so as soon as you enter in it, you're going to have a bunch of people that are just like, oh yeah, we listen to what Jimmy says. And you're going to find it absolutely bizarre, but you're going to understand like, oh geez, like people actually just believe every word I say.
Yeah. I guess like on topic of video games, like for what I've seen, like I don't ever want a community that just parrots what I say and like takes it for their opinion. Like that's one of my favorite parts, is saying something about a topic. Like for Dragon Wilds, granted there was a lot of stupid arguments that, like, from my perspective, I thought a lot of arguments were stupid as counter arguments to what I was saying, but there was also some really nice arguments against it that I appreciated people saying. Like I like hearing opposing viewpoints, especially for video games, like if I'm talking about something, because like it's a beautiful part about being human, is we all have different brains. So it's nice to get perspectives. Like, if I'm making a video about something, I'll usually, obviously I'll take my own personal experience and background, and then consult a few of my friends. But it's not until like you put it out there to the public where you really get to get a grasp on a concept and see perspectives you would have never heard about until people commented on it. And it helps shape my own ground for things. And I've grown to appreciate people telling me like, hey man, you said this, but I don't really agree with that because ... and then give me like a sound reasoning of why they see it a certain way. And I mean, that's what I want. I don't ever want a community to just like not think about what I'm saying. Like if I say something wrong, I say something wrong. I try not to, get the facts wrong ever, but when it comes to opinions, everyone has an opinion, and I like hearing about them. So
let me ask your take on what you would like to see most from old school RuneScape. I feel like in the past you've definitely had some pretty, I don't know, passionate ideas. And again, I'm kind of going back to just even your latest Bankstandin video, which is years ago now, but you were talking about this idea of like when Varlamore releases, how cool would it be to, be able to kind of start your adventure there as a Varlamorian, or start your adventure as even like a Vire over in like Mauritania or something like that, where it is, they're really leaning into the snowflake idea, but making it a bit more official. I don't know if you still hold on to those views, but what do you think is like the thing you want to see most in this game?
It's hard to say. I mean, with going back to the snowflake ideas, like the Varlamore snowflake thing, at the time, I was really, really heavily into Star Wars: The Old Republic, the MMO, and in that game, they have like the different classes, like World of Warcraft does, but in that game, every class has their own story to go through, like completely voice acted, completely through every planet. Like you are going through a unique story with unique choices, and it was honestly enlightening when I was playing through it. Like it gave me a new perspective on telling stories, even in an MMO space. I joke about it saying like Star Wars: The Old Republic is probably the greatest, one of the greatest single player RPGs of all time, even though it's an MMO, but it truly is. And I think it's a single player RPG first, MMO second, maybe even MMO third. But it's like it gave me this, just a fantasy idea about old school RuneScape and this community that has grown to appreciate snowflake ideas and concepts. And just think about it like, what if there was an account type that was locked to a certain area that had its own storyline? Because the big argument I saw against my Varlamore idea was that locking people out of RuneScape content is not good, like for the completionist's sake. But I never understood that, because if you're making a snowflake area locked Ironman, you are locking yourself out of the content. You're not going to be able to complete everything. Like that's the beauty of it. But it was the other way around. It was like, oh, so you're locking main accounts out of a storyline because they're not this, which I get, but also that's the point, is it's for that certain account type that you're choosing to do. It's a story that you cannot experience unless you are a region locked account. Granted, this will never happen. This will never be coded into the main game or anything. If anything, it'll be like some weird spin-off in a Project Xanaris thing. But like that's such a cool concept to me, because I love the storytelling in RuneScape. It's what started my career as a YouTuber, is looking at the story of RuneScape. So thinking of different opportunities like that, implementing storytelling in new ways that we've never seen before in any RuneScape is a really cool concept to me. And I think they could do some really awesome shit if they did lean more into the snowflake thing. But then again, I don't really know how prominent the snowflake ideas are nowadays. Like I'm not sure how into it people are. I don't know how much of a hit it would be. I don't know how many people would be trying it. Hence why I think it would be a Project Xanaris thing in the first place. But it is just it's a cool fantasy thing. Like, yeah, the Vyres in Mauritania, like thinking about what your player would experience if they were just locked to that, a part of their own storyline. They're separated from all of the Misthalin and Asgarnia storylines. They'll never touch them. They'll never be a part of it. How could you intertwine that with the Mauritania storylines? What part could you play in those quests? I think there's a really cool way to go about it, and hopefully we'll get to experiment with it a little bit.
I think there is something cool. I know they ran some player surveys about having these snowflake official accounts kind of types, and so you would have something like a task generating thing. I'm not a huge fan of the task generation thing where it's like you just have to do what it tells you to do next, but I loved the idea of chunk lock, like an official chunk lock where you like virtually cannot leave this chunk. You can't even misstep out of it. You're actually locked to this until you complete it. And they would just have a few different starting areas, I'd imagine. And what it would be is like you could just decide you want easy mode or medium or hard, or just like insanity mode. And just like it actually is complete everything. But I think there is something really charming about having an official mode like that, because I don't know. It sounds like something else to do. It just sounds like something interesting. But I think there's so much pushback about the idea of making any of these snowflake things official. Yeah. But you know what? In my head, though, I do want a new permanent mode to come out. I'm definitely not really a fan of the temporary things. I know so many people are, which is cool. I think Leagues is an amazing update, but I don't play it. I just don't like the idea of an account being stripped of everything later.
Yeah.
But especially with RuneScape, like the amount of hours you just invest in it. But it would be cool to see, I don't know, even like a Mithril Man. I don't know if you remember that mode. It was this idea that came out, which was basically like you're just one of a bunch of group Ironmen. Like you can only trade with Mithril Men. You can't use the Grand Exchange. You can boss with other Mithril Men. You're going to have your own little trading spot, probably in Falador Park, where you can trade. So it kind of brings back that OG style of playing where you actually have to trade. And you can still kill things with people, but you have a fresh economy that's only Mithril Men. You're kind of an Iron Man, but everybody's kind of your group Iron Man if you see other Mithril Men. Those kind of ideas like really fascinate me. And I'd be like, okay, that sounds cool. Because it's like a spin-off of a spin-off, but it's also official. Just sounds interesting. But I know
like integrated into the main game. So you're playing alongside other people. Okay, I see.
The only game mode I think would be amazing outside of the main game was that hardcore main mode idea. So it would be a completely separate server. Every single person on there has one life, and it's just do whatever you want. And it has the group hardcore mechanics where you can die at chambers, for example, or you can die in the Inferno. That would be exciting as hell, especially thinking about the wilderness. You would have some PK clans out there, and everybody has one life, which would just make it so crazy. Like the stakes would be so crazy because you can't just go out there and not bring everything. You literally, every time you go into the wilderness, you're going to have to stake everything. Like you're going to have to bring everything out there that can defend you because you're going to die and you're going to lose everything and your account's going to be kicked out of the world.
Right.
It's just, I mean, imagine the clan wars that would get set up in that. Like if some content creator PKers were to set up clans and like start trying to take control of the wilderness, you really can't take that much control. There's got to be so much strategy to it because as soon as another clan wants to overpower you, you can't just respawn and go back and keep fighting. You're out of the game server. It's just a crazy idea to me.
Sounds miserable.
Oh, yeah, totally. But that's just me talking about the wilderness. Like you could still just play the normal game and just be a skiller or just do whatever you want. And you could even swap if you care more about the main game. But, that just sounds so cool. There is one issue with it, though, because I've been really obsessed with this idea. But one of the worst issues is the DDoSing that would happen. Because back in early old school, back when there was just like the 2-minute death timers or whatever, of like your stuff disappearing, people would just literally DDoS people. And if Bodhi is playing this hardcore mode on stream and they know his world, just shut down the world and, he's gone now, if he's doing anything hard. So that's a big problem.
Yeah, it's always sad. They just dealt with that. I guess the same concept is exactly how it works in hardcore WoW. It's, you could still use the GE, you could trade everybody, but if you die, you're gone. Like, same thing. And when everybody got to the raids, like the I think it was like the third raid, second maybe. I don't remember which one it was. I stopped playing by the time they got here, but the servers started getting DDoSed while they were all streaming it, a lot of them lost their characters. And it was really sad. Like these dudes are out there fucking DDoSing Blizzard servers. Like those got to be some of the most secure servers, and they're just fucking knocking them down with ease. It's so sad. People are unreal, dude.
That's horrible.
It's like it's an evil thing because like they're not gonna take credit for it because they very illegal thing to do. So it's like they're just doing it just to be evil for their own like
just to watch the world burn. Yeah. Literally.
Crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder what's going through their mind. Like they have to be just absolute psychopaths. I mean, they
have to be.
Like, what is that? That is bizarre. I want to actually touch on some of the, I guess, cultural shifts of OSRS players. I feel like years back, I would probably say 5 years ago, was at its worst, where people were very judgmental about how you played. There was so much like elitism kind of, and I feel like that's kind of dissipated a bit. Who knows? I'm going to have to get your view on it. But one of the really fascinating things is seeing integrity not being taken as seriously at all. In fact, if you were to look back 6 years ago or something in old school, I mean, if you saw an Ironman that was taking advantage of something with a main account, it was hella frowned upon. It was just like, no, you can't do that. Like, and nowadays, I don't know if you watch Tasty is making, or I don't know if he's still making it. I know there's been some updates in the game, but he made it like a, what was it called? Like an unethical Ironman or something like that. And it was just, it's literally playing on it now. To be fair, he's doing it completely ironically. So
Yeah.
it is a different thing, but that is just seen as completely fair game these days, to make an Ironman and to go out of your way to abuse every single thing. It's because we've gotten to that point where you could actually just do that and nobody bats an eye. They're like, yeah, that's cool. And then there's services. Do you remember when buying a cape, like an Infernal cape, was seen as, I mean, you just committed murder if you did that and you got caught buying a cape.
Yeah.
To be fair, that hasn't changed much as the other things, but these days people don't really give a fuck. They're just kind of, the Infernal cape they kind of care a little bit about, but think about any other big achievement. Think about a Fang kit. Think about Blorva. I know there's so many services going around where people can just kind of get it. I don't know. Well, let me get your take on it all. How do you see the cultural shift of like the OSRS player base when it comes to integrity and whatever else?
That's really interesting. I didn't really know there was like an integrity shift, really. Like I don't know. I mean, I guess I've always had my own thoughts on achievements in this game. Like one of the main reasons I've never gotten an Infernal cape is because I feel the need to, if I were to go for it, I feel like I would have to do it on stream, because if I didn't, I would get accused of buying it. So I feel like I would need to do that, which I get. Fair. If I just showed up with an Infernal cape one day, I would expect to get that shit. Like, that's nuts. But yeah, I don't know. I think I've always thought, like, I just don't get it, I guess. Like, I don't understand why people would buy services. Like, that's always been silly to me, because it's like, you're playing this game for enjoyment, leisure, stress relief, whatever. Like, why?
That's the status. That's the status of it. There's such high status. At least people perceive it.
But that's the thing, is there's really not status.
There isn't, but it's perceived as like, I need this or else I'm not going to be respected in the old school space. Maybe,
which is a very weird way of thinking. Like,
oh, it's bizarre. It's so unhealthy.
It's very unhealthy, and it's also not real. Like, like if you're thinking that way, like about yourself, like, oh, I need this or else I'm not up to par with my peers or something. It's like, dude, this is a fucking MMO. Like, you're fine. You don't need it if you don't want it. Like, don't get it. Like, what? You're fine. Like, it should be your own challenge. This is a video game, man. Like, that's what video games are for. Is for leisure, and just escaping a little bit, and just setting your own challenges and goals, especially in RuneScape. It's like a huge part of it. So why would you skip that? Why would you void yourself of the opportunity to do that? It's so bizarre to me. I feel like if you're listening to this right now and you've bought anything, fucking destroy it in your inventory right now. You little bitch, dude. That's crazy. That's a bizarre thing to do. Like, I get it in like a world of like a single player game. If you want to play on story mode or easy, or, download mods that like make you overpowered, it's a single player game. Play that however you want. MMO is a different story. Like, a part of achieving that, it is like a part of everybody's journey of seeing like what you've done, where you've been, kind of thing. Like, it should be for personal gain, but also there's just something wrong. There's something like very wrong about doing it on an MMO where like, what it takes to get the things that other players are wearing. So it's a bizarre thing to me. I don't get it. I don't understand people who buy it, who buy services.
You know what's crazy? This is the weirdest thing to defend, but it just came to my mind and I want to cross it by you. Do you remember? This is the bizarre thing, is how much more the Infernal Cape means than what came before it, the Fire Cape. There was never a rule about you not being able to buy a fire cape. I think it was kind of like this idea, like people kind of frowned upon it a little bit, but people would sell fire capes all the time on stream. They would just do it like that. That was just a service, and it was never seen as, oh, I didn't get my fire cape myself. Nobody gave a fuck. It was just, if you have a fire cape, you're cool, I guess. Like you did something cool, and even if you didn't do it, it's like you still have it, but nobody's gonna bat an eye. Nobody's gonna care. Nobody's gonna question you on it. But the Infernal cape comes out, and because there was so much, I don't know, just I guess the team really trying to represent it as an achievement that player made, and so they're gonna enforce bans of people that buy it. Now it's become this thing where now people really do get upset when people buy it, but ultimately nobody got upset about a fire cape. So what's the difference?
I think it was the first like true modern challenge that gave any form of status, like you were saying, like like as silly as it is to look at it as a form of status. I mean, there's no changing that it is, especially when it first happened, when no one was selling them. When it was first coming out, everyone got to see, Wook struggle on it for 3 days straight, and everybody else not get it either. Like there hasn't been anything like that since, like at least to that scale. Like obviously it's fun watching people take on a boss on day one and figure it out, but there's been nothing even close to the way it was handled, and the lack of tile markers and everything.
It was
I talked about it a lot.
Few days. You were there watching, right?
Yeah, I was there.
Oh yeah,
I was here. Yeah, I was there, dude.
Everyone stream hopping from stream to stream.
Yeah, you'd see everybody shoot up like 10K viewers when they got to Zuck. Like, it was awesome. Nothing like that has even come close since then, because of how it was the first real modern solo challenge in old school. It was designed with players in mind that understood the mechanics of the game as adults. And I guess Fire Cape at that point, I mean, when I was playing back in the day, Fire Cape was a big deal. Like it was really cool in the original game. Like it was.
I cried a little bit when I died my first Jad attempt. This is 2015. Dude,
everyone remembers.
I didn't get my first Fire Cape till 2015. That's when I started old school. But yeah, I was devastated. Yeah.
Actually, I have my first like attempts at Fire Capes on my YouTube. Like the first time on my main account ever in like 2017 that I like truly went for it. And I unknowingly had the plugin. I don't even think it's allowed anymore. It used to like show you what to pray at the time, and I didn't even see that on my screen because it was enabled by default. And I still fucked up because I didn't see that. And I was like, because I was like so nervous for it. It's like such an intimidating thing seeing Jad for the first time.
You just don't want to fail. Like it's so much pressure, it's shaking everything. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I definitely felt the essence of what it meant to get a Fire Cape from back in the day, because I never went for it when I was a kid. But it's just a stepping stone nowadays. Like you should probably get it. Like it's it's pretty standard now, but it's because we understand the game mechanics and how the game works. And Zuck coming out and the entire structure of the wave system was never seen before. Like the pillars and just how much attention you needed to pay to every little detail, working your way up to Zuck and needing to multitask your brain in 7 different ways when Jads are popping up while you're dodging insta-death missiles, hiding behind a shield. Like, that's crazy. Like, no one ever, if you showed that to somebody in 2010, they'd be like, this isn't real. Like, that's stupid. Like, what are you, insane? That'll never exist. But it was the first modern solo challenge as adults, essentially. And it did change everything. And I don't think people should, loosen their views on it as if it's a Fire Cape. It is one of the most challenging things, if not still the most challenging thing in the game to do. So I don't get it. I don't understand if there is an integrity change. Like, I don't think I've personally seen it because I'm not I'm not like super deep in the like RuneScape Twitter world anymore, like seeing every little thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've backed off social media entirely. And
you're right though about it really not having that much of an effect on the Infernal Cape. I will concede that. I think it was mainly about just playing the game in general. So many people these days just don't care about who's doing what. There's just so much more, like, everyone's more relaxed about just like enjoying the game these days, and rather than this kind of gatekeeping that seemed to be very prominent like 5, 6, 7 years ago. It's like,
yeah,
I don't know, the elitism behind everything. But yeah, I guess, no, you are right though. I guess it is a difference between the Fire Cape and the Infernal Cape, and they did make it a huge deal. And actually wanted to touch on, you brought up Wooks, and if you rewatch his Zuck fight, I mean, he's dropping, I think he dropped either vials or runes. Actually, no, he didn't even for his first cape. There was nothing. It was just, he didn't even know the safe spots, and that became a thing where you drop vials. But we are playing a completely different. Have you seen people kill Yama? I'm just curious. Have you seen any of those streams of people killing Yama?
I watched Will kill it on day one.
Okay.
I haven't really paid attention to its mechanics much though.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't killed it. I'm on my iron getting there, but I've seen a lot of these videos of like this dono fly tech where there's just a bunch of tiles everywhere marked. So for the enrage phase, everything is mapped out. And we're playing this game where it's actually just click on the tile you've marked and then wait this amount of ticks, click this tile, click this tile, click this tile, and everything is marked. There's every single thing, every piece of content. When you ever see any high-level PVMer doing anything, things are marked out of fucking control. And it's become completely solved. So I'm curious how you feel about the game being played that way these days. I mean, ultimately, I think we could probably both agree, who cares? It's just whatever, it's a video game. But I'm curious, do you think that's actually taken away from some of that really kind of nostalgic challenge of something like the Inferno on release before it could just be solved immediately?
Yeah, I made an entire video essay on this exact topic because I was mind blown.
Actually, I think I remember this.
Yeah, it was when I was watching people do Leviathan, and it inspired the entire video thing. Like when Leviathan came out, at least watching the Awakened version of it, and just seeing just the bombardment of tiles filling the screens, and I was just like, what the fuck am I watching right now? Like, this is ridiculous. And it really does. It feels like a different video game, and that's what I said in the video. I was like, this is not the video game I'm playing. We're playing a completely different video game right now. And in that video, I had a cold one go and do Awaken Leviathan without plugins, and everyone was commenting like, holy shit, I didn't realize how cool this fight was because it was the first time I've seen it, because it's only covered by tiles. I can't even see what's on the screen when I'm watching this fight. So it takes away from the experience. And a lot of people were like, they brought up exactly what you were talking about with Wooks, of like, no, Wooks was marking tiles. He was just doing it with vials and runes. It's like, yeah, well, you didn't know that. Like, people didn't realize that at the time watching because it wasn't a tile. And I called tile marking Wook's vision. Like, that's all it's doing for you, is you're giving yourself Wooks' brain visually when you mark tiles. Like, that's how his brain has always thought of the game. Like, he's seen that for over a decade, like way before like marking tiles was even thought of. Like, he's always seen the game as tiles. But yeah, it is. It's a completely different game nowadays, and it is a slippery slope, because the same thing happened. Like, I'm not super in the WoW community, but I've heard it a lot, and I heard it a lot from comments on that video I made of the same sort of hole that you dig yourself as developers when you allow players to have these add-ons and plugins that make PVM encounters easier, or kind of serve as a handicap of some sort, because then you start developing content with those things in mind that make it nearly impossible to do without.
Yep.
And like, if you do an Awakened Leviathan with tile markers and without, no matter what your experience is, whether it's your first time or 100th time, it will be harder to do. without tile markers. There is no argument, no question. Tile markers make PVM content easier than without.
Yep.
And that automatically gives players that don't use tile markers a disadvantage. And you are creating a new game. Yep. It's a new way to play the game. It's a completely different type of game. And it is a huge reason why we won't see another Wook's accomplishment like that, because immediately everybody's solving it by marking tiles as they play and like figuring out exactly where they need to go. They're just playing Osu at that point. Like we're just watching fucking Osu players click on the things at the right time. And to a lot of people, that's fine. Like, you know, it's the game that they play too. But for me, I'm just like, this is stupid. I can't watch this, man. Like, at least like when Bodhi's doing it, he'll have like a few things marked. But I mean, he's doing like butterfly method in TOA, like without markers at all, which is so fun to watch. I don't know if he still does that at all. I don't know last time he was at TOA, but like watching him do that without tile markers is so cool. Because it just feels like you're watching him do RuneScape content, where if you watch somebody do it with 8 tiles in front of, like, underneath them at all times, it's like, what is this? You're just following a guide or something. Like, at least if you memorize it and take the tiles away, it's cool to watch. Like, at least take them off. I don't know, but it is what it is. Like, there's nothing you could do about it now. We're too deep in that hole. But I always try and make sure I do everything I do in the game. I try and not use tile markers for any PVM encounters I do, like especially for like quests and everything. Doing like a big boss, I'll never mark anything. I'll go in, take the environment as it is, and just play the video game, because I feel like that's the best way to do it for self-enjoyment, I guess. You're getting your experience out of things that the devs make.
We're living in a different world with the plugin-scape. I think the way I see plugins in general, I mean, it's like there's cons to it, but the pros outweigh the cons for like no matter what, we're always going to keep pushing the limits. I mean, even beyond so I don't know how many plugins you play with when you're just playing the game. If you just have like, you know, bank tag layouts or whatever else, you know, all those things that are in the game, they make the game so much more bearable. I brought this up.
Yeah, they do.
Like I could not play RuneScape if we were just playing the actual original vanilla version. I know they have like their
you don't like using your arrow keys to move the camera?
Well, I'm literally just talking about having to actually I guess this has been solved, to be fair, but I think this is actually, I want to ask you this. I'm kind of going off on different tangents now, but it's like, let me just ask you this. What is, if you could only have one RuneLite plugin, what would you choose? What is the most impactful plugin that you couldn't live without?
GPU, easily.
That's a good one. That's what people say. You know what mine is?
What?
As much as I would fucking hate to not use GPU, it would be menu entry swapper.
Interesting. Yeah.
Because it makes
a big one.
Everything. You can actually just change every single thing to a left click or a right click.
Yeah.
And that's just massive. It completely has transformed the game. And getting so used to that luxury, and then taking it away is the most miserable experience. It's horrible. So, yeah.
That would be a pretty brutal one to lose if you're used to doing most skilling with it. That would suck a lot.
Oh my God, it would be just unbearable these days. So I'm glad. I call this the enlightenment. The plugins and not restricting them too much is the enlightenment, but there is obviously the downsides of us taking plugins way too far. But I think, again, pros outweigh the cons, in my opinion, and there's no way of really stopping it. I mean, what are you going to do? Like, you're going to ask all the people to, like, oh, stop using these really things that make every PVM encounter trivial. It's just people won't. And it's just one of the things that has to be accepted. But you're right about you being at the worst disadvantage if you're not using every single plugin that these other high-level PVMers are doing.
Yeah, it is it's a strange topic now, especially since they're making their own client and trying to implement ways for people to develop plugins on the official client instead of RuneLite. Like, I'm very curious how that's going to work out. But yeah, it is it's so deep in a hole right now. It's like, yeah, this is the way it is. It's There is a lot of nice things that people developed. I mean, I use so many plugins just for the sake of production when I make any video, and quality would not be there without these plugins that these guys work so hard to make. Like it is amazing. And I'm sure for a lot of people, they wouldn't even play RuneScape if they couldn't mark tiles, because it is that game to them. Like that is what made this game bearable. So it does keep players here. If you don't want to use them, you don't have to. So,
yep.
It is way more pros than cons. So,
okay, I need to talk to you about podcasting. We mentioned it very at the beginning of Bankstandin, but you actually have had another podcast with Framed and Settled called Procrastinators. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, and how this was, again, like, started way long ago. Have you guys, like, when was the last time you made an episode of that, or did you guys?
We did. I think we just did 2, and
that was it. Well,
yeah, we went about it the very, very wrong way of uploading to our main channels, and I want this on record, because you know what? I was listening to Settled's podcast on here, and I want it on record.
Yeah,
he said that none of us were willing to do it on a second channel and take the initiative, and that is not true. I have offered dozens of times to start up that podcast channel and run everything, and they don't want to do it. I offered the other week, like 2 weeks ago, I offered to do it again, and they're not taking me up on it. So I want it on record. I would totally start that podcast any day they wanted to, and it is not on me. I would love to do that with them, but they don't want to do it. So that's on them. You guys can yell at them for that if you want.
You know, it's hilarious. I actually have a podcast planned with Settled again in like 10 days. And
yeah, dude,
I'll press him on that. We'll see.
Call him out.
We'll see what his side of the story is. Maybe he'll
pull up the
say something
receipts,
about you.
man.
Yeah, pull up the receipts. No, honestly, I'm one of those people that loves listening to other people's podcasts. I'm a podcast host, and I've always been like a huge fan of people starting up their own or actually staying consistent with one. And you guys, you guys would absolutely kill it. I know you guys are busy. You guys are making insane content with insane quality, and you just got other things. You got a fucking mortgage and a wife and whatever else is going on, and it's just like, I get it. Like, I get why people wouldn't just have the interest, or what's even the point. But I'm not gonna lie, there is a lot of thirst these days, I think, for just creators chatting, and I think if you guys were to bring it back, that would go crazy. But
yeah, I've thought of just starting to do it like a solo thing, where I fucking just start doing what you do and just talking and like to myself basically about shit, and just posting that up, because I do miss doing it sometimes. There's so many things that I haven't gotten to just talk about that'd be interesting to see other people's thoughts on, and I can't fit it all into a video essay because it goes too long. But I do. There's a lot of times where I've missed doing podcasts. Like it's just, with me and Nine Rain, our schedules never aligned. Neither of us were really motivated to keep it going. We didn't have a lot to talk about. Like, it just wasn't, I don't know. We just kind of let it go. So, whereas me, Settled, Framed, we talk all the time. Ever since the WoW stuff, I've been extremely, I guess, isolated, and I've been trying to come out of my cave of isolation again and catch up with them. Which is why I was like, guys, this podcast, if we started the procrastinators thing again, like, this would be awesome for us, because as creators, making your own schedule is, believe it or not, a lot harder than it sounds. They don't tell you about this when you do self-employment, but you have to keep yourself on a schedule, and it's one of the hardest things to do. And having things in a schedule is extremely healthy if you are, especially when it involves others, because it holds you accountable to show up, have responsibility, work something into your schedule.
What do you have next coming up, content creation wise? Do you have any plans? Anything that you can reveal?
I have 2 WoW videos. I'm doing the next episode of my WoW series and then doing a video essay as like an interlude episode for the WoW series after that, like mid June. But I have been in like full consume mode this last like month or so. Do you play a lot of other games like other than RuneScape?
I don't. I really,
No?
it's just very, very much RuneScape only.
Yeah. I know a lot of people that is the same.
I mean, I will kind of watch other things. I'll consume a little bit of other things here on the side.
Yeah.
But it really is focused on OSRS.
I love storytelling, and there has been such a huge influx of great storytelling games that have come out this year, and I have just been going all out on experiencing them. And I like to do that because it gives me more insight to the overall of gaming and the gaming world and what's happening, what's new, what's well perceived by players. Just because if I do make a topic on RuneScape or World of Warcraft, I can pull in examples that people might not be thinking about. And it's important for me to not get like super tunnel visioned on one game and just have all this bias towards it. And I've found that like broadening my genres of gaming have definitely helped introduce ideas or inspire different perspectives on things. And I gotta say, I think, have you seen on like any social media anything about Expedition 33?
No.
It's a game that came out a few weeks ago, and it was made by 30 devs, and I think a few of them were ex-Ubisoft devs, and they created probably one of the greatest RPGs of all time, and it is a work of art, and it has inspired so much in me personally, and I know it's inspired a lot of other people to kind of start approaching things more creatively, because I've never seen a video game do what they did in terms of artistic style and kind of drawing so many parallels to real life through symbolism, and it's beautiful. And I have like sat on it for a while, like I didn't know, but it's probably, if not top 3, my top 1 video game I have ever played.
Wow.
And I could not recommend it enough. If there's anything, it is turn-based, but it's like interactive turn-based. And I've never played any turn-based like it. It's very different and it's super exciting.
What was it called again?
It's called Claire Obscure Expedition 33, but everyone just says Expedition 33.
Okay.
And I just like, it's one of those games where I played it and I've just had this like empty void feeling after finishing it, knowing that something probably won't top it for a really long time. So now I'm going and playing games that I know it drew inspiration from that I've never played. Like I've just started playing the Persona games, and next I'm going to play Final Fantasy X and just start seeing where a lot of it came from, and just introducing myself to a new genre that I have never really experienced, because ultimately that stuff does give a lot of insight just to gaming overall, and it helps a lot for creativity. It kind of brings me out of slumps when I need it to, and I don't know, it's awesome. But if you or anybody needs a game to like, everyone will find a touch of themselves in that game. Like, it's crazy how much emotion that game brings out and the way it's able to convey different meanings to everybody. And it is a work of art. It is a beautiful game, and that's probably going to be like a passion project of mine over the next like 6 months. I've already started like writing everything of like going deep dive analyzing into everything that it does.
Oh, that's exciting.
Like a film perspective. It's cool.
When can we expect a video
on that? Not for a really long time.
Okay. I was gonna say, if you could. I mean, you're already selling me, and you're probably selling some of my audience. But I wonder, if you could actually make a video essay on it, I'm pretty sure you'd sell a lot more people.
Yeah, it's gonna be it'll be a video that I started off with. If you have not played this game, do not watch this video kind of thing. Like it's gonna be. I'm not expecting a good performance. This is gonna be like my fucking senior project, like all out film degree analyzing. Like this is a project that I'm making like rooted in just for me kind of thing. So it'll take a while because I can't prioritize it completely, but I have already started like going crazy with like outlines and ideas and watching as much as I can on it, and it's a fun time. But highly recommend.
That's
just had to go on a tangent about it. It's been on my mind a lot.
I'm surprised that you even said it could possibly be your number one video game of all time. I feel like those are always reserved for super nostalgic video games.
Yeah, that's why I've been reluctant to say it, but I think
what would your number one have been before this? Is there one?
I don't know. I could never decide on a number one before. Like I truly don't know.
I mean, my number one, I think, if we're just excluding OSRS or just RuneScape in general, 100% Legend of Dragoon on the PlayStation 1. It's like
I've heard a lot about that. You know what's funny?
Yeah.
Is that let me make sure this is it is. This Expedition 33, people were saying, is very, very rooted in Legend of Dragoon. Like,
oh man,
it has a lot of inspiration from that game. I've never played it, so I can't completely vouch. But when I was asking, because I know Floodin asked on her stream when she was playing it on stream, and this was a very common game brought up when compared to this game. So that's actually really funny you say that. So you might really like this game if you tried it.
I think that's why it came to my mind, because I even just looked it up. I was seeing some images, but I'm like, Legend of Dragoon, I mean, that I truly don't understand how much of it is nostalgia based versus it actually is a really, really good game. But oh man, I am absolutely obsessed with that game. It was a 4-disc JRPG. It's such a massive journey, and you just fall in love with the characters, absolutely in love with them. And they're so like, I don't know, there's just so much like personality with them, and the storyline is just so epic but real. It's just so fucking cool. And it's if there's anything, because the people that are in the cult of Legend of Dragoon, and there are people that have just been begging for decades now for a remaster or a release or a sequel or a prequel or anything. We haven't gotten one, but surely some of them have maybe seen this game and they're like, yeah, this is what we needed. This is the fix we needed. So you're kind of selling me on it. I might have to check
you should try it, man. You definitely got to try it, because I've heard that's the only reason I know of Legend of Dragoon, is because people have brought it up because of whenever I talk about Expedition 33. So you'll probably really like it, because it does the same thing with like developing characters really well, making them very believable, just good pacing all around.
And you're saying it's turn-based, like just combat-wise, right? If you run into an encounter, it's turn-based, you're saying?
Yes, but it's interactive turn-based, so you have opportunities to parry and dodge.
That's exactly what Legend of Dragoon had, because it wasn't just the Final Fantasy aspect of you click attack and you attack or defend or whatever. It's you actually go up to the thing and there's an animation where you have to click X, and then there'd occasionally be like counters that you'd have to hit.
Yeah, you gotta like time it and everything. It's really cool.
Oh my god, yeah, I'm gonna have to check this out.
Yeah, you definitely gotta check it out. If you play it, you gotta let me know, because it is one of the most exciting stories and one of the most fun. Everybody who I have talked to who's played this game, I have had extensive conversations about it because of how much interpretation is there. Like, it is amazing. So if you do play it, you gotta let me know as you play, because I love talking about the game. It is like, I go crazy happy mode when I'm talking about the game. So you gotta let me know if you do.
I will,
really
man.
Good.
And yeah, keep killing it, man. You're doing some really good stuff in the content creation scene, and it's just cool to see. It's cool to see like the OSRS people blowing up. So I
appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm glad that we finally got to get together for it, because I know few years or 2 years ago, I guess.
Yeah.
It was like the busiest time ever. So now that finally found that little gap. So
yeah,
it's cool.
It worked out great. And I'm going to push you on that podcasting. You push me on that 33 expedition. I'm going to push you on getting that podcast rolling again. Maybe I'll have to harass Settled when I get him on soon. So, yeah, but
and maybe what I'll have to do is just do my own thing for a while and then convince them to start coming on as guests. And then I'll trick them into it's now a podcast with everybody. Maybe I'll do that.
That's it. You got to be a little tricky, a little sly.
Yeah, just don't tell them that plan and we'll see it come into fruition. It'll be really cool.
Well, for those still listening, I'm going to have Jimmy's links. Many of you are probably already subscribed, but if you aren't, go check him out. Got some amazing video essays. Go check out By Release. He's got the full 23-hour, everybody's got a spare 23 hours in their day. They can squeeze that in really quick and just watch all of By Release. But honestly,
fall asleep to it.
If you haven't checked him out, you gotta. He's great entertainer, and he's got a lot of good takes just on MMOs in general, and obviously a lot of RuneScape focused stuff. So if you guys are into that, obviously go drop him a subscription. I'm gonna have his other links thrown in there as well. And yeah, if you guys want to support the podcast, there is a Patreon link, a YouTube membership, and a Spotify subscription link that you can get access to exclusive episodes and just support the cast in general. But yeah, that's it for me. Jimmy, thank you once again for coming on.
Thank you so much.